What up? Welcome to Homegrown Hustle, where local brilliance takes the center stage. I'm your host, Matt Eichmann. Join us every week in celebrating innovation, guidance, and the power to inspire greatness. Let's explore the stories that shape our local business landscape, and together, let's ignite the spark of excellence. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homegrown Hustle. I'm here with Matt Thompson. He's the executive director over at Wayzata Sailing. They're a nonprofit. They do a lot of education and courses for, as you guessed it, sailing on Lake Minnetonka. Matt, you got a lot going on. You were telling me about your fleet of boats earlier. What was it, 130 boats you have?
Something more than that, yeah. I got to look at the spreadsheet again.
Well, thanks for coming in today, Matt. We really appreciate it. So for everyone who doesn't know you, do you want to introduce yourself, tell everyone a little bit about you and kind of how you got into the role as the executive director?
Kind of funny story. I guess I always start with, most people answer that question is like, what do you do for work? Mm-hmm. My answer has always been, what do I do for fun? Yeah. And that became my job. So I was what I'd call an alternative sports kid. My dad was into fishing, hunting, rock climbing, and outdoors stuff. Mm-hmm. And I kind of took it from there. Got started in sailing early and they left the sport and it became mine right away. Mm-hmm. But Wayzata Yacht Club, our neighbors, and Wayzata Sailing have always been what I would call a grassroots sailing organization. It was people who didn't live on the lake. And it was an access point.
Really?
It was pretty much a trailer park. So like it was a bunch of people who bought a marina because they wanted a cheap place to keep sailboats. And
that's how it started?
That started like back. Really? I mean, you look into the history, it's pretty funny. But the Yacht Club literally has an award called the Bail Bond Award because there was a warrant out for the Commodore's arrest. Like it's not a,
that's some good history, Matt.
It's not a capital Y yacht club.
Mm-hmm. And what do you mean when you say that?
There ain't no blue blazers, none of that. You know, it's about people coming in and enjoying the lake.
It's about the sport and being able to do that, creating some accessibility.
Exactly.
For it.
So I got blessed to kind of fall into that accidentally and get introduced to it. Mm-hmm. And it has become my lake access point since then. After graduating from the University of Minnesota, it kind of fell back into the job. The executive director at the time left and I got, recruited, kept with the job. So since 2014, I've been in charge. We've tripled the business. It's gotten big from, our old summer home. Mm-hmm. And, as part of that, we've, it's kind of a different lens. It's not, I guess I don't want to say that businesses are self-serving, but I get really encouraged to look outside at the bigger picture beyond my own business. Mm-hmm. And that lends us a lot of power. I get to do volunteer roles. So right now I'm serving as the Wayzata representative to the LMCD. I do a lot of volunteering for the Community Sailing Committee, which is sort of the organizing body for community sailing centers like us with U.S. Sailing. And that stuff all powers my business too.
Yeah.
So we look a little bit outside of what we're actually doing most of the time.
So in 2014, you said you became the executive director. What was going on there in the business? And then what was your overall understanding of business, like your acumen?
So I was about 2-3 years out of school with a design degree. So pretty much nothing.
That really helps with running a business.
Yeah. Okay. And, I think design, I can talk for hours about design thinking. And, but I think the big thing that I came in, what my superpower was iterative design. At some point, you just got to commit to a decision and you're going to do better next time.
Yep.
A lot of people get hung up on that.
That's decision. Huge. Making a decision.
A decision. You got to go do something. You have this frame of time. At this time, you're going to make a decision and you can make a different decision the next time. New information, whatever.
Yep.
So, that was really the tool that I had coming in.
Just an ability to pivot and think on your
and
toes.
Commit.
Yeah. Okay.
So at the time we were, 10, 15 seasonal staff, pretty much one, if we were lucky, 2 full-time people in the office to kind of get things together. But I didn't know anything about HR. I had access to a part-time bookkeeper and I got handed the keys.
Okay. And then you're reporting directly to a board then at that point, right? So For everyone listening that doesn't understand like how a nonprofit has to be structured, could you kind of run through just like overall structure and then like how that impacts how you operate day to day?
So nonprofits typically have a nonprofit volunteer board. Sometimes they're paid positions depending on the size of the organization. And you're responsible to them and essentially to the state. So you're filing, the big things are filing the annual report and keeping accurate financials, keeping track of those donations. So it's kind of like running a business, but also like a slightly different money management scheme.
You've got revenue coming in the term of classes and courses where people are actually paying for it, but then there's also the donations to help pay for the fleet and all the other stuff that goes into it.
It's a little different, like level of income tracking. You don't get to just like run batch reports and inventory. You're doing that plus managing restriction on donations, making sure that money gets spent in the category that you're allowed to.
Okay.
Or, in line with that donor's wishes.
Do you have to like report back, and is there a feedback loop to the donors for stuff like that? I guess
there can be
if they request it or something like that.
And the best nonprofits do a really good job of being transparent about that. The idea is the better you can do with your marketing and communications, that feedback loop is your growth and reporting. Your marketing can become that reporting.
Yeah, that's good. So
create
outside of like, so we're talking about like the corporate donations and sponsorships. I guess donations probably the right term for it, but the conversations you're having with the businesses that are coming in and they're giving you donations for whatever, what's the value that they're seeing in supporting the Wayzata Sailing? Like, do you have offerings that you're putting together, or is it strictly this is something that we as an organization support, we're going to donate it toward?
That scheme has changed a little bit. I think we used to really focus on that ROI for that like investment. You had this like grid of specific things that we were going to give them, like a social media post and things. And we're kind of transitioning away from that a little bit because, the proposition is hard for small businesses to like, I'm going to get you X amount of money in the door by sponsoring us. And this year we're spending a lot of time kind of revamping that. Budgets have gotten tighter with that kind of stuff. The actual like tax return on businesses and individual donations has changed a lot in the last decade. Like a lot of us aren't using that. We don't get to write off the same way that we used to on individual donations, for example. So this year, we're really taking a fresh look at that from a community perspective about trying to encourage people to like link with an organization and be able to promote that you're supporting these things, this community, the mission of the organization, and almost flipping it the other way.
Yeah.
There's a limited amount of sort of like promotional you can put out. I can put your logo on stuff.
Well, and it kind of seems a little bass-ackwards anyway. If you're like, we're donating to this nonprofit as long as we get a whole bunch of marketing and business from it. Like
it's a little funky. But the expectation is what do you get from it? And I think the conversation is now becoming, what do you get from it? You get to say you're part of this community. You look at the work that organization is doing. So trying to highlight that this year is like my new big swing. Yeah. Working with a couple of volunteers to put that together, getting the design stuff back out, spending a lot of time in Canva trying to crush things out,
So, and you told me you're ramping up, ready to onboard like 70 seasonal employees. That's a pretty gnarly process, Matt. Can you tell me a little bit about how that has kind of evolved over the years?
Yeah.
And I mean, you've built like a whole like training multi-year process. It's pretty impressive. So let's dive into that a little bit.
It's a little wild, specifically in the HR thing. Like I really relied on my part-time bookkeeper to like tell me that stuff originally. And they come with lots of different levels of experience, right? My first couple of bookkeepers were what I would call like recreational bookkeepers. They knew what they were doing, but was it the best practice? And then we had like the church bookkeeper who was really sharp with everything. And now I'm in restaurant bookkeeper, who we look like a sane business now because they do restaurants, which is awesome to be considered.
Which is a crazy business, actually.
The sane client in their room. So yeah, it's been a really big transition, you know, we started in paper land and photocopies and lists to trying to create our own onboarding systems.
Yeah.
We spent probably 5 or 6 years actually using our camp registration platform to check, and we used it as an HR platform to submit documents because it was doing that before those HR programs existed.
Oh, wow.
You had to do that for the camp registrations. So we almost kind of invented our own HR process in that system, and it worked pretty well.
I love that.
And now we're starting to explore those bigger software systems because we need more, you know, just like automated action. Like we needed to clear
the paperwork for that is
to look at W-4s, to look at those trading certificates, you know, the amount of documentation that we got to take in annually and refresh is wild.
Well, and then not to mention, like, that's step one. Once they're in the door, and now we got to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. And sailing, like, there's kind of some risks involved there, especially you got kids, you got these big boats, and I'm pretty sure you're letting the kids drive them, right?
Yep, that's the idea. I don't want my staff driving. The staff are out there with the safety boats, the instruction boats. The kids are supposed to be hands-on right away, and that's something I like to. I think one of my favorite parts about sailing is that it's the safest sport that still feels risky, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
There's like a lot of
don't think you're gonna actually die, but it's still
there's
kind of
it feels risky. You have this big fiberglass piece of equipment. You've got, you know, the wind and this like big energy pushing on you, and it feels really risky. It's pretty low level. If you've got a life jacket on and you've got some supervision and you've checked the weather report, life is pretty good. But it feels very intense because you're connected to that right away.
What's the youngest age kids that you bring in for one of your courses?
5 years old.
Whoa.
My oldest kid started this summer, about 4 3/4, and snuck in under our little extra age gap. And he's driving boats with some supervision, having a good time. So you were asking about the staff, and that's like the wild part of the cultivation. When we were doing 10 or 15 seasonal staff, you could really hire, you just kind of pick your top 10 sailors out of the program. In a year, you'd be like, hey, you're going to work here. You're invited, you know? And now when you're running, you know, like up to 75 part-time people, you're working with a totally different array of coverage.
Yeah.
Our full-time seasonal people, I think we had 35 last year. And there simply aren't that many great sailors that can also teach in the like 18 to 22 category that also want to work there and don't have to get an internship that summer.
Yeah. Like,
it's a small pool.
Those criteria do kind of
start to
it down a little bit for you, Matt.
So we've expanded a little bit from what we used to do. You know, we used to look at staffing from, you know, you can sail and then it was instruct, to now we're looking for a balance of a couple of really good sailing instructors.
To be like
people,
leads almost.
People who are confident in power boats is another pool. You know, if you've got experience driving a fishing boat and you just want to be outside, that's a great safety boat.
Yeah.
That's somebody you can be on the water and learn to sail. We're exploring other pools. Like we're just looking for like teachers that want summer jobs. If you can deliver content, you're my like onshore instructor. Like you know how to get on a whiteboard and do that, deliver that material. That great sailor might not be the world's best instructor. They might be the person that's in them with a safety boat that says, I can see this in the boat. Can you help me talk to that kid?
So you have
working in teams,
you have to start
layering that staff together,
creating exceptions and looking for ways to be able to fill that, because that perfect criteria, that the number of people you need just don't really exist out there, right? So then you have to build the training to kind of get people and bridge the gap. Yeah. Right.
And when you're growing that business, you're also, you know, creating those roles within the organization. When we're small, we get to be jack of all trades. We look for the perfect people. And then I think as you grow, you kind of flip that around and you pick good people that may be able to fill a role, and you kind of build off of those and layer them together to fill the void.
So what's the leadership or the overall organizational structure changed like over the years? I can't imagine you're managing all 70 employees yourself.
No, not anymore. It's definitely changed. The funny story I like to joke about is I was never actually hired as executive director. I added that to my title sometime around 2016 when I
Nice.
realized that nonprofits had to have an executive director and I couldn't sign for anything.
Oh.
And I just put it on my title.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I became that position.
Mhm.
But I think titles are a little worthless sometimes. And that's my joke with it, is you're looking for responsible people who have an eye for certain parts of the business. So as I grew the business, I was looking for does this person have the ability to take on the delegation of this role? That started with sort of these full-time people that wanted to manage like our race programs and the travel programs because I needed somebody who could go away on the weekends because I couldn't do a 4-day travel trip, come home and only have 2 or 3 days in the office to make the business work. Like it wasn't going to be possible anymore. And to hand off those roles. And from there, we've developed, other leadership positions where we have an outreach director now who manages actually like all of the partnerships and then the staffing that goes along with that. And then this year we added a 3/4 person that's literally just our HR onboarding staff management.
All the paperwork.
Person.
Shout out to that person. I do not envy that job at all.
Maria rocks it and got hired for a reason.
Shout out to you, Maria.
My board president was like, you need to hire an HR person. And when I figured out Maria was already taking an HR class, I was like, done.
We're there.
Level up. Not doing a product search on that one. Like, we know who we are.
So tell me a little bit about what you got planned here for the spring, summer. Like what's the season like? I mean, there's a couple months until the whole bay is covered with sailboats, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have boats out of the shed probably 3 weeks from now, sailing in the bubble around the dock. The high school kids will get going.
Everyone's
pretty
just
soon.
getting the itch already.
They'll chomp. We normally get a phone call or two right away in March. People have some questions. I got some great photos last year actually sailing like through the ice. It was a lot of fun for our first couple of warm-ups. But yeah, this part of the season now, we start off January is like sales season. We do call it 75 to 80% of our income is January 1st through 5th annually.
Word. Just the donations and stuff like that?
Just sales.
What do you
the
sell?
Camps just go
really
nuts.
Like you sell out.
We do a lot of our business.
It's like a Wallen concert, damn near.
And then you got to carry that through the year. So I got to do December is make all the business decisions.
That kind of sucks, dude. Like I kind of like it, but as I'm thinking about it, all the revenue's there and you got
to make it work. You set your budget, you make your guess in December, and then you're just committed. And there's something kind of satisfying about that too, because you don't second guess it all year.
Yeah.
I would say November and December is kind of stress ball that way.
But you pretty much get to capacity, like how many classes you're going to have.
You know what you're working on and what you have to market the rest of the year very quickly.
To fill the rest.
You know what you have open and
what a good freaking problem to have though.
Couple of capacity. You have your list of open camps. You've got your, big summer events. Like we have our Windward Festival, August 8th. That's like our big like community fundraiser family event. And you've got those couple of things to go market and sell and fill the rest of the year. But you have this great base to work from right away in January.
That's awesome.
To like look at. It's a fixed number, like November, December, you're definitely like doing the calc on paychecks. But that's what those like line of credit things with a good like small mid-bank, you set those regular relationships up. Like Bell Bank is just like, we got you, we know your business model. If I hit that in December, they can carry us until January and that income comes back in. So you set it up right, it works out.
Well, and I like that you're talking about it and thinking about it like a business, whereas other nonprofits that I've spoken with, there's like so much passion and like they care about whatever it is that they're supporting, but they don't have something that's a revenue lever like a class they can sell that just brings in a boatload of money. It like relies exclusively on those partnerships and sponsorships, and that's kind of hard.
It's a
Because
different
then you become
ballgame.
like a marketing agency almost.
It's a different relationship game. We're lucky that, that our deliverable and our mission has some income generation, and
Yeah.
we've figured out how to do that. But that was a development process too. I mean, when I took over the business in 2014, we had bought a $2 million property on Lake Minnetonka that we owed over $1 million on when I took
Solid.
over the business. So
That's what
you're
you took
looking
over?
at an unpayable mortgage. Like, we're paying interest on we're
Yeah.
trying to pay interest on this every year. That's about all we're carrying. We're not making progress on it. And you've got to figure it out. And we can't sell, at that point, the market was down. You couldn't sell the property to make up for what we owed on the mortgage. And it was like, well, commitment, let's go. We got to
Yeah.
figure out how to make
So what
this
did you
work. Lean into it. Had fun. Like, at that point, you can't do any wrong. Anything you're doing is right.
Yeah.
Like, go have fun. How do you generate interest?
That's good.
How do you try stuff? I think one of the things I learned in nonprofit world that I lean into a lot is that you're supposed to lose money once in a while. And if you don't try new stuff, you're not going to figure it out. So
Can you unpack that one a little bit?
You got to figure out risks you can take. So when we start a new program, you figure out what the return is. You say, okay, maybe I'll do 50% of this. I'll get sold. So this year we started a new paddleboarding camp. I don't know how to sell that. We bought paddleboards. I swiped the credit card for some paddleboards and said, our camps love using our other set of paddleboards. Can we run an independent camp? I got 2 years to fill this to 50% to pay off the boards. Then do I have to reinvest or do I sell the boards? So find like an acceptable level of small risk and go try it. But you can't research every option. You can't look at every other business to see if they've made it work, because you don't know if it's going to work for you with your community, with your partnerships.
Sometimes
until
you just
try
jump
a little bit of it, right? And I think that's really what made our business prosper, is these kind of community trials. So we were really just a sailing school when I took over. And we had relied on, for fundraising, telling the story that if you buy us a new building and pay off this debt, we can do X, 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 X. And we flipped that around and we said, okay, we're going to go show you what we can do in all of these spaces, really small. We're going to do, so we started new community programming with the city of Wayzata, a bunch of other partners like the YMCA and the Science Museum, to create these like STEM camps.
That's awesome.
And we weren't really throwing in all that much. It was some time and some energy. It was a low risk.
It's the knowledge and
but we showed that we could do it. And then we turned around and we said, this is what we did without a budget. You give me the building, I can, blow that out of the water. And that's where that return on that comes back in. But if you don't take the risk.
Well, taking action, right? Like if you're always waiting for a donation or the revenue or something to be there, always waiting for something to be a trigger for action in business, like sometimes something has to punch you in the face for you to end up changing something.
Yeah.
But the more we can be the initiator of the change or the pressure or whatever that additional stress on the team is, as opposed to outside stimuli, now you're in control of it at least.
Yeah. You made that. That's your job. You can figure out where to cut it off or where to move on or where to grow it from.
Yeah.
You have all that direct feedback with it. So we have a lot of programs like that. Like some of them, I'm a big wing foiler. Wind
I have
sports
no idea
is my
what
thing.
that is, man.
Okay. So you've seen windsurf boards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Take the sail off, hold it in the air like a kite, but not on strings. And then a hydrofoil lifts the board out of the water.
Oh, that's badass.
So much fun, right?
You can do like flips and stuff on that?
I can't do flips,
Oh,
but there's
other
guys on
people
target.
can.
We got a crew. It's fun.
Gotcha.
I'd like to say I'm pretty good, but I'm not jumping like a madman.
Yeah.
But there was a while in sailing where foiling, that like hydrofoil thing, was going to save the sport. And there was this huge push to like modernize it. Old slow boats aren't the thing. Turns out parents maybe don't want to sign their kids up for that. Kids think it's wonderful, but parents are not looking at that on the registration.
Yep, sorry, Johnny, we're not
And
sending you to that.
I still run some camps like that for those kids, but it isn't a part of our business that I try to run 300 kids through a summer. It's something I do 2 camps a summer for those kids that need that, because sailboat racing's not their thing. They're like me, where They need a little bit more adrenaline, something fun and challenging, really physical, moves a little faster, that's non-competitive. And so, we would have never figured, if I had like fully invested, like the industry was saying, like, let's go for this.
Sell all the boats.
I probably would have crashed and burned on that. And trying it allowed us to find a happy spot where after a couple of years, it's kind of landed in this nice, like, hey, 2 weeks, we run like 12 kids and then we run some fun stuff alongside of our racing.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with our fishing program, but in a totally different way.
You have a fishing program?
Yeah,
too?
we got a fishing camp. Sold out. It's our first camp to sell out every year now. And
that's sick.
Our STEM camps, we had an instructor, Evan. I'm going to space on his business name right now, and I want to plug it because he's a cool kid.
We'll circle back.
I'm going to have to
look that guide service
up.
Or something?
No, it's a soft plastics company for bait that's biodegradable instead of plastic. He started the thing as
you gotta give me Evan's
senior
name,
project.
Man. That sounds
I'm going to
cool.
go get my phone out of my backpack.
All right, pause.
Get that. Because he's absolutely killing it with it right now, and it's like a cool story out of our program.
His little thing kind of looks like the post office sign.
Yeah.
You'll see it now, Calandria. This is such a cool thing. You gotta get his ass on here.
Yeah. He's in the full hustle mode with it right now.
Is he getting like
zero trace baits? That's what it is.
Is he like going through? Okay, so that guy.
Okay. So I'm gonna come back in there. Okay. So take our fishing program. So at this time, I want to say this maybe like 4 years ago, we've got a solid STEM camp that's running. I've got this dude, Evan Rackelbacher, who has been a volunteer in our program. He's been with us. He started as a free volunteer, and all he wanted to do with the STEM kids was like go fishing.
Yeah.
Like he got super stoked about it. So it's like, Evan, do you want to have a fishing camp?
Yeah. Evan.
Okay, let's do this. So we don't have boats for this. So we start a shore-based fishing camp where we're just like fishing offshore in parks around camp. And year later, we get a fishing boat donated. Like, hey, do you want to run this on the water? So we start that. And now we've transitioned. We've got 2 pontoon boats that we sell out all summer, 12 kids a day that just go fishing all day.
Evan's in heaven.
And as Evan's graduated, he's going to University of St. Thomas for his senior project. He starts, he gives me a call and he's like, hey, I want to bounce this like business idea off you. I want this like biodegradable bait company. These soft plastics are all in the lake. And so, of course, I'm throwing weird ideas out. He's hooking up all these ideas, but now he's got this soft plastics bait company that's biodegradable, that's trying to be better than the plastics because when they get wet, that scent comes out. So it's a super cool project, zero trace baits, but it's come out of this like community program where Evan was never a sailor. Like
he just liked fishing.
He didn't like fishing really until he injured himself playing football and couldn't do that anymore. And fishing was like, oh, okay, this is really fun. So he got exposed through a STEM program, through a community program, through a sailing program to fishing and taking care of his lake creating this like business.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And those are the things that we really like to highlight from our community programming. Like that's the kind of stuff that comes out of this compared to like a base sport. It's
because you're providing an experience that like literally they can't get anywhere else except for maybe somebody's friend's house that has a sailboat, right? And then that's kind of How many kids come through your camps every year?
Right now, we have about 900 individual families, like households that come through our like registered programming. If you count individuals with all of our community events, outreach things, we're at about 2,000 individuals a year.
Wow.
Through our programming. So it's gotten kind of wild. When I took over in 2014, we were at roughly 400.
So you've 2x its customer base at the minimum.
Yeah.
Plus
it's big. We don't fit on our site anymore.
So what's the vision? Where are you going with this? I mean, there's only so much space on Lake Minnetonka for sailboats, man.
There's only we can fill it the rest of the time.
Yeah.
I think really it's filling our equipment the rest of the time. we started as this like camp sailing school, and really it's trying to figure out how to create accessibility for more groups and different use cases for our equipment. So weekends, evenings, we essentially don't run on the weekend.
Really? So you're running all this in like an 8 to 10 hour day, 5 days a week.
We
during
do
the summer?
8 to 4. Yeah. The camps are 9 to 4 during the day. So we essentially have our primary staff 8 to 5. And then
How are there not more traffic jams over there?
well supervised classes. Lots of
Really?
whistles. The kids learn whistles and hand signals the first day. Do a little point at the motor, lots of whistles, follow me. Comes real quick. And then, evenings are what I would say like quarter strength. So we run a lot of our adult programming in the evenings, and then kind of
Dates
open
and
boating. And we market those. Like if you want a cool date night,
Oh yeah.
we
That's
will
a home run, boys.
we will do a pickup. You go do a lesson. We'll drop you right off at like Cove Docks or something. You can go out, have an evening right after.
Put it on the list. So from a course schedule standpoint, you were saying that those pretty much book out the first week of January, right? How much availability is there like in 2026 if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I want my kids to try sailing this year?
What I would say is 7 to 10 can be a little tough, but we've got room in most of the beginner things. If you're a newcomer, come on in. We'll make it happen for you. Even that 5 and 6 year old camp that used to be a little full is better balanced now. And we're pretty reactive as a business. So we have a pretty advanced, one of the reasons we use the registration system that we do is the wait list thing is all automated in it. So we use a platform called Ultra Camp that looks a little different from some of the other ones, but it keeps a running wait list. And as soon as we move somebody out or make an adjustment to a session, it's already emailing and onboarding the next kid into the slot so that we don't have to do it.
I mean, I'm just thinking like our shop over in Mound is right next to a jet ski shop, right?
Yeah.
So, and like there's people coming in and out there. So if all you're doing is coursework, and I'm thinking you've got like 130 boats, renting boats out, you can make a freaking killing outside of that if people don't crash those.
Well, and that's the big thing with sailing equipment, like the maintenance level. Supervision is definitely encouraged to, we're running on a shoestring most of the time.
Yeah.
And there frankly aren't a lot of providers to repair that kind of stuff if I want to take it outside. And that's where that relationship thing comes in. It's figuring out what you can fix on your own and when you got to take it out of the house to a partner that's...
Oh my gosh. Where do you even buy a sailboat, Matt?
That's a good question. There's a lot of, basically they're worldwide boats and you're working through a vendor. So when you're getting new stuff, you're shipping it in on a truck.
I got to go to like Nantucket or something to get it.
Yeah. There's provider, East Coast, West Coast.
Oh my gosh.
There's fleets of our boats that are, most of them, like the plastic boats, they're all roto molded in like Italy. So you're buying them through a vendor. We've got a boat that's really popular from France right now.
Really low cost boats.
We're on the lower end where the industry is definitely moving towards like plastic rotomolded boats. But even those, like our lowest cost boat, I think is $3,000, $3,500. And that's like an event boat. The mid-sized boats that the teenagers use new off the shelf are like $14K. And our adult boats, if I were going to buy those new and maybe $40,000, $50,000 a boat. And that's where like managing your equipment and your fleet comes in. We take donations of old boats of the same type. Some of our adult boats that we refurbish in our shop and maintain. We've got boats from the 80s that we're running. You pick equipment that you can repair and manage yourself.
By the way, I'm pretty sure Hennepin County is checking all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Safety is most important.
Safety is key. And, so we're doing annual maintenance on this. We're doing refurbishment, sales, the wear out equipment, and then life jackets.
That's a business in and of itself, maintaining that many boats, the whole industry of the lake. And once I moved out around Lake Minnetonka and I saw like the dock guys, like how is that a business? That is not a business anywhere else except for in Minnesota on Lake Minnetonka, I'm pretty sure.
Not in the same way.
It's wild.
And you talk about being front loaded.
They're working 120
I see
hour
my guy
weeks.
Joe's out there. He's got like 3 weeks where he's on, and then some
Yeah.
polka dots through the summer. And then I get a text like, hey, I'm coming on Wednesday, man. Be ready.
Yeah. Well, because there's so many bays and the docks have to go in. Like it's a totally different world around the lake during those season changes. And unless you're like around it and you see it, like you're not going to get it.
It doesn't register the same way for sure.
But there's big money in that too. Like all these, what are they? Like the lifts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
People throw crazy money at boats and we love it. It's great. But man,
learning to maintain it yourself can save you a load of dough. That's for sure. But there's there's a lot of specialized equipment involved with it. Like a boat lift. Like, yeah, I can change a cable, but I don't know where to get the parts half of the time.
And let's be honest, people aren't coming to their lake home or their cabin
to go do
a whole bunch of work, right? So those businesses evolving over time, it's really, really, it's just unique to kind of look at, like Nickum Docks and how the design of it, like it was developed because of how Lake Minnetonka is.
Oh yeah.
Like that's really cool.
And the systems are so wild, lake to lake. My parents live on Lake Vermilion, and you can't just like pull your dock out up there.
Yeah.
The water drops off. It's all stone. So all of their docks are on a concrete block on shore, and they cantilever. So they take the decking off, and they attach a cable to the end and an A-frame, and you just lift it up out of the water. But that's like a totally unique site condition. Yeah. So there's a whole business up there with like two guys that just make cantilever out docks.
Because you have to. Otherwise, you can't
docks
get a dock.
Just hang out in the air all winter.
Shout out to the guys that figure that crap out, where they're like, you know what? This shoreline here, it's not ideal, but we're going to make this work because we're going out on the boat, honey. Like that guy, so many kudos to him. So let's plug a few of your camps here this summer. What do you got open? And what are some things that people maybe on the edge making a decision about trying it out should know?
Well, I think one of the fun things that we really love is that 5 and 6 year old camp. We do kinder sailing. People see this as maybe intimidating or a different place to start. Kinder sailing is like the most fun place to start. You go out with an instructor on a 22-foot boat, 5 or 6 kids with that instructor, hands on, but they're running the boat. They got like some supervision on it.
I want to see my kids
and
doing that.
The goal is simply like go love sailing. 5 and 6, limited amount of information I'm going to really get you to walk away with. But you're going to leave with like a love and a comfort for the lake. And then you can go anywhere with that. Any water sport, you're going to feel comfortable in a boat. And so if you come back to sailing, if you go to other boating, you're going to love it. And our camps are really are focused on that. Then, there's a beginner camp for every age level. You know,
35-year-olds like me.
Oh yeah, you can come hang out. But we run a kind of a different tier. Typically sailing schools were beginner to like, okay, now you're going to go race.
That's how the school goes.
That's how they used to go. It's like, we're just going to recruit the kids that are good at that. So you're either futzing in boats or you're racing in boats was the historical model. We really emphasize like adventure programming. It's like, go explore the lake with the boat. We're going to learn some more skills. We're going to learn new equipment. So we have a venture camp for multiple ages in that. We've got a kind of young teen and then an older teen camp where we handle faster, fun boats. They've got catamarans and trimarans. We're putting different sails up. Our open skiff classes are sold out right now, but that's a real highlight for that like 10 to 13 category. It's a rotomolded fun boat that you tip it over, comes back up dry. Their regattas, their races are actually like fun oriented. They have like a bridge of doom they have to get underneath where they have to heel the boat and get underneath it. They do freestyle competitions.
It's a lot of fun.
Like you gotta go have fun with this. And like, I love sailboat racing, but I'm also like the wing foil. Like I just want to go dark around too.
Fun stuff.
I just want to go have fun on the lake. That's what it's about. And so we've got that avenue for everybody, all the way up to like our adult programming. We do small like 3-person classes Monday, Wednesday, Fridays to like come out and go try the sport. You can work all the way up to certification. Go join our friends at Wayzata Yacht Club next door and have fun. Go jump on a boat whenever you want. Like they take new people too. So there's lots of ways to get into the sport.
Well, you're sure making it sound a lot easier than it was before this podcast here, man. So if somebody's listening to this right now and they're like, I want to sign up,
Yeah.
how do they do that? Website?
wayzatasailing.org. Right there in the top right corner is register. It's got our whole thing there. If you're not sure what you're after, our programs page has a really cool little class finder.
Mhm.
So you just answer yes or no questions, 2 or 3 bubble choices, and it'll take you right down the tree to which camp you should be looking at.
Oh, that's awesome. So it kind of helps guide.
If you're a small business and you've got that problem, Zingtree has a free option. You can create those call center like menus, but clickable, and just throw it on your website, and it'll take people right where you want to go.
That's genius. That's a hack, ladies and gentlemen. Write down.
All about trying new computer things like that and looking at software platforms.
What's the newest one you tried?
The newest one that we tried is we're looking at all the automated HR systems right now. So we've been on Deputy for payroll, and we tried their new HR. So my HR person is like running through the other options now, because turns out Deputy is Australia based. They don't quite
different rules over there.
Get some of the stuff we need them to do. So they worked great for years, but we're kind of exploring those options right now. And it's hard because they don't give you a real price up front. They want you to demo it and build it out before they can tell you.
Get you in this whole
process. I miss like pay your $500 Adobe subscription, get the CD. That's a tough part on small businesses right now, because I don't want to do a demo and build it out to figure out how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
That's so hard.
Because then they get you like 15, 20 hours in. You got to
stick with it,
time.
right?
Yeah. Now it's the fear of loss or whatever, where you keep putting more time in because you don't want to lose what you've already invested. It's kind of counterintuitive though. Any last remarks you want to say before we sign off here? We've covered a lot. You're running a kick-ass school over there.
I want to make 2 plugs that I think every small business should like lean into. One, I really would not have been successful in my job without our chamber and our Rotary. And those sometimes feel like really stodgy organizations to be a part of. But they're also the people that will go out of their way to help you. They're the people who are taking time in their community. And so you don't have to throw a bunch of money into those organizations to be able to be a benefit to other people. Our chamber has become a partner in fundraising with us. We run cooperative events. They find sponsors for their events that don't want to be on site, and we're on site to fill their booths. So like Chili Open, we're out there running a hole for whoever doesn't want to go stand on the ice for the day, and they're paying the whole sponsorship. And I'm getting my name out there. I'm engaging out there and volunteering, but being a benefit to the local community in that regard. Same thing for Rotary, man. Those guys helped us through our building transition. People give in those circles. Yeah. And when you can benefit another business, they know they're going to get it back somehow in a way that's really easy to you. So I just got to lean into like, go do those things. That's and good. I totally get it. It seems old school. It seems like a waste of time.
If you don't meet people, how do you expand what you're working with?
It's a lovely tool for people, especially if you're new to something that you're doing. The other one is like business partnerships. Like, it doesn't mean necessarily like being part of a BNI group, but like there is really something to developing like a long-term relationship with another business.
100%.
And we have, I can do everything in our business. Like I could go fix a motor, I could go fix a sail, but there's stuff that you need around the next day, and you need a partner that's going to turn that over for you so you can keep running. Our motor shop in North Minneapolis, Supreme Marine, like they're the kind of guys that I want to walk in, they're like, okay,
we got
you. I don't have time for you today, but if you come pick it up before 4 and I don't have to put it in the yard, I got you. Sail crafters are guys out in St. Louis Park. Like if I blow something up, Tim's going to turn it around for me the next day. I know I've got that. Like
because you developed the relationship.
Yeah. But if you just go shop that every time for lowest price, you're not going to get what you need, which is that like immediacy turnaround. You're not going to get the service that you want.
The stress and pressure put on a business when something's down, that's critical. Like it's hard to actually quantify the impact that it can make to the team. Right. So that's huge.
Like in an industry like ours, if I'm down a safety boat or two for a day, that totally changes the dynamic of every camp. We have to operate our safety practices totally differently. Yeah. If I don't have a motor, if I don't have that piece of equipment for the day, I've got to like rebook a whole lesson. It has waves through the whole week, 2-3 weeks, depending on a part. So you buy them a Christmas gift this year then? We try to take care of them. Yeah. Supreme, I got a present for you guys.
All right, Matt. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the Homegrown Hustle. Really appreciate you taking the time, driving out of the bubble over there, Lake Minnetonka, making it out to St. Paul. Thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate all the support. Till next time, keep hustling. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Homegrown Hustle. It's been an honor to share the stories of local legends who make our community thrive. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Please stay tuned for more insight and inspiration. We got a lot of heat in the chamber. This is Matthew Eichmann saying peace out until next time. Get hustling.